Okay, so remember that they're changing my voice. So when they change my voice, it doesn't really help them. So what are they doing, right? They're fuming me. They're provoking me. They're hacking my phone. They're causing background noise in some of my videos, so I have to redo them. So often I'm rushed when I redo it, right? I'm very irritable. I know that if I take too long to make the videos, that I'm have a lot less videos and a lot less information out there, and it interferes with my flow and moral repetition. So I end up, putting out videos that are, kind of not perfect in some ways, but they're good enough to present. That's for sure. That's for sure. And sometimes it sounds annoying, right? Sometimes it sounds gay. Okay, you kind of lose how I sound naturally in my videos. And even if I sound good in some videos, it's not naturally how I sound, so I'm not a big fan of it. Okay. And quite often they drive next to me. I'll be in a parking lot, like right now there's a huge parking lot, and I'll be like toward the back or halfway, and someone will park right next to me with their windows down for no reason, and the fumes will increase, whether they're doing it remotely from the car, or it's coming from outside, or their car, or whatever. And so, you know that people believe me, and that nobody likes a villain with ill-gotten gains who's getting over on everybody and going after the most righteous person that ever lived. So people believe that I'm the top martial artist ever possible, right? Some people have flat out said to me, yes, they believe that I'm the Messiah. Okay. When I first met one of my girlfriends, at first she was confused about who the best was, and by the time she heard me for a while, because she has a condition, she started to see why I'm right, and she said, yes, you're the best, right? You're the top martial artist. And she said, that's why I gotta have you. And she said it in a certain way that it was clear that she knew that I was right? And it wasn't something she was just saying to kind of patronize me or whatever. So, again, I've had people, when I was a little kid and they did the testing, they saw that, I was a genius early on. Okay, and I don't care about how smart someone is, so on and so forth. This is just the story, okay? So it's insane for them to pretend that I'm crazy and that you shouldn't listen to what I say. Even if you believe that there's something wrong with me, right? Okay? What I'm saying is the truth. And what they're doing is extremely despicable. And I have 23 witnesses, okay? So it's crazy for them to do it. They don't get anything from changing my voice. And so when you look at this thing, you look at the sum total product, you see the most righteous person ever sabotaged, telling you the truth about things that matter most, while everyone else on the planet is playing stupid and their tails are tucked. And every once in a while somebody who's controlled opposition, okay, says something cute or interesting here and there, okay, and that's about it. So like it says in the Hagakure, right, I've risen above the crowd. And people have, in a serious manner, acknowledged that I am Christ, people here and there. And I have 23 witnesses. So between the fact that my arguments are sound and they have no viable counter-argument, I've been making them for years and thousands of videos and on different websites and reaching out to people in comments, and they have no viable counter-argument. The fact that some people have conceded my points, and the fact that I have over 23 witnesses on record now of people who have noticed that they're persecuting me, and they've noticed various aspects of my targeting, including the fuming and the covert drugging, makes it open and shut. So I think that it's laughable for people to think that I haven't proven my point. It's proven. And these people all think that the guys who mocked Jesus in the story, who spit on him and gave him the crown of thorns and the robe, and they said things to him and said, hey, why can't you save yourself, and da-da-da. Okay. They think that that's sweet, and they think it's so cool, and it's obviously not, that the story is figurative and the miracles didn't actually occur, and they're taking advantage of that gap in understanding. A lot of people do understand that, and they're in secret societies, and they're scholars, and they're this and they're that, and then there's tons of people that to this day, even with all the kind of secret society turning out rubbish and garbage and sexual depravity, disgusting sexual depravity that's going on behind the scenes, right? Where they act like they're important and they reveal the so-called secrets of the Bible while they sexually exploit people There's still a lot of people that don't understand because people, are coerced into only talking to certain people. And I can give you countless examples. If you're in the Klan, for example, you're not supposed to talk to black people, right? And people of color and what have you. And there's countless hate groups. There's hundreds of hate groups. There's hundreds of registered. I think there's 1,000 documented hate groups. I forgot what the number is. It's pretty high. Okay, there's corporate people that don't want you to associate with certain people because they believe it's bad for the reputation of the corporation. If you're in the FBI, you probably can't talk to certain people. If you're in the police, okay, there's lots of examples of this. And there's people who are racist and traditionalists, and there's people who say, stay away from my daughter. Okay, when you put it all together, even what is acknowledged by itself proves that there's a bunch of worms out there that think being unfair is smart. When you look at the workplace bullying and the organized harassment and the cases of stalking, I mean, it is clear that the majority of people in America are clearly either extremely and severely mentally ill, or they're somewhat slightly mentally ill, and they're too scared to kind of straighten up and get it together and stand for what's right. And then mental health obviously is not working, or there wouldn't be so many crazies everywhere. There's psych wards everywhere. There's mental hospitals. There's all kinds of therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists. There's all kinds of videos on the internet, and people are crazier than ever. It's like the more mental health videos they put out, the crazier society gets. So what they're doing isn't working. I am the master healer. They are not. Okay, so what I mean is that somewhere around 80% of people who go to a psychiatrist, right, basically don't need a psychiatrist. They need discipline. They need a change in diet. They need a change in regimen, a change in thinking. They need to consider what substances are in their environment, what have you. And just because you know what the problem is doesn't mean there's an easy fix. But quite often they try to drug them and change the way they think in a way that conforms them to society. And they don't really think about the deeper repercussions of conforming to the New World Order. Now, the 20% or so of people who may be severely mentally ill. Now, there's a difference between somebody who's telling you the truth and they say he's severely mentally ill, right? That the person has schizophrenia or something, which is the most severe of the mental disorders in psychiatry. Okay, so there's, schizoaffective, schizophrenia, people who suffer psychosis, psychotic disorders, right? These are the most severe disorders. Okay. And they're not, quite often there's a spectrum of them, right? Some of them are more mild than others, right? So some people who are schizophrenic seem very normal, even when they're off their medication quite often. Okay, and some people are like in the streets, homeless, and they're pacing back and forth. So if you're a severe case of schizophrenia, or you have a case of schizophrenia which impairs, your ability to do things, okay, then, you might be better off on medication, and that's a very tricky and sad path to take. But the situation is extremely dire and severe. Okay, medications are very, very bad for your brain. They're very bad for your body. They won't kill you right away, but neither will methamphetamine and cocaine in most cases. I mean, so what? Doesn't mean it's not horrible for you. I mean, think about how these things are designed, right? They're designed to take them like, what, twice a day? Quite often. These things last longer than your marijuana high, right? They last, in some cases, longer than, methamphetamines, who has people strung out on meth, for like 6 hours or however long it is, right? So they're bad for you, right? As they say, Adderall is like prescription meth. It's nearly identical in chemical structure to methamphetamines. So it's pretty severe. And I've been saying this for years, that it's a very drastic step to take to put someone on antipsychotics, right? To put them on potent psychiatric medications, even mood stabilizers like Depakote, okay, even antidepressants, right? Zoloft and so on and so forth. Okay, it's a very drastic step to take. That's like somebody's depressed and you're like, here's some cocaine or something, right? That's insane. And so it is with, the vast majority of people who are labeled mentally ill. They do not need medication. So why do they get medication? Why do some people say, no, the psychiatrists are the experts? Because it's an integrated system where there's a bunch of corporate partners that work together. Okay, the people who are in the labs, they make money. The people who sell the pills make money, and there's lots of those people, and they make lots and lots of money. Okay, it's just like with painkillers, right? There's all kinds of people taking painkillers who don't need them. Okay, so it is with psych meds, and quite often they're addictive, and they want to stay on psych meds. The psychiatrists tell them to stay on psych meds for the rest of their lives. They get kickbacks. They literally pay psychiatrists under the table to prescribe their drugs. Okay. And obviously it's illegal and wrong and so on and so forth. There's off-label marketing. There's a lot of reasons why the system is the way it is. And first and foremost, the main reason is because it's consistent with white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacy and the cultures and the modes of thinking and the ways of teaching and learning and the ways that people relate to each other that uphold white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacy, right? So the disorder, first and foremost, is in society. And the output is everything from people who are misdiagnosed or people who are, drugged heavily for something that they can fix just by changing their diet and moving and changing their lifestyle and exercising. Okay. That's the result. I mean, even the word pharmaceuticals, right, comes from the word pharmakeia, which means poisoning, not just sorcery. It means poisoning. Okay. It's poison. And sometimes you take a small dose of poison, it can have certain effects. So psych meds are poison. You take too large of a dose, you'll die. Okay, you'll have brain damage, right? So they give you just enough, and it causes you just a little brain damage over time. And sometimes that brain damage can somewhat seem to address the problem. And I'll leave you with this, okay? If somebody came to me and said, they can every once in a while they sleepwalk or they have fits of rage, and I say, you know what? Just hit yourself in the head with a hammer every day, whenever you have those symptoms. It would remove the symptoms. Almost certainly, right? It would mess up their brain, but it's not good for them. And so is the general rule of thumb with psych meds. But if you're batshit crazy and you can't help but run through traffic naked or something, yes, you should probably consider doing something like that. Thank you.